you have to play the long game because one of the things, like take the gym as an example, 15, 18 days, you're not going to see results. 2 months, you might start to see some results. 3 months, you might see some more results. But from a quick perspective, you're not going to see results quick. And I think we want to take our goals and the things that matter to us and we want to microwave them. We want to make it like a fast food restaurant where we can just go through the line, get it, have it, be done with it, not have to work for it. Long game requires you to work, and you're going to have to work and not give up. And you're going to have to grind a little bit. There's going to be days where you don't want to. You're just going to have to keep going, but you have to approach it with the long game in mind. Like, where do I want to go in the future? The goals you have are not going to be easy. The goals you want to set for the new year probably going to cause you to have to do some work, and you're going to have to do some work for a while, not 15 days. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Grit Meets Growth podcast, where we bring you inspiration and insights focused on getting uncomfortable, making things happen, and creating a magnetic life. If you enjoy the messages you're hearing here, please leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes of the podcast. With that, let's get after it.
You know, in the spirit of the holidays and Christmas being in a few days, let's make sure we're writing the list and checking it twice. So I've come up with this. I didn't come up with this idea, but I saw a Christmas list that I really liked. And the Christmas list started out with buy presents, wrap gifts, send gifts, shop for food, and see lights. But then it was edited. And so instead of buy presents, it became be present. Instead of wrapping gifts, it became wrap someone in a hug. Instead of sending gifts, it became send peace. Instead of shop for food, it became donate food. Instead of see lights, it became be the light. And I thought about that Christmas list for a moment, and I think it's so powerful. I mean, I think, every one of those pieces is important. And it really takes hold of that giver mentality that we all operate in. Right? Every one of those changes is about giving, being present and giving of yourself, giving someone a hug, sending peace to people, donating food. Again, you're giving of that, right? And isn't Christmas about the giving spirit? Being the light, shining your light bright for others that may be sitting in darkness. Join that light. It's all about giving. And isn't that really what the true value of Christmas is?
Well, it's a simple list. Like, there's nothing on that list that is really that challenging. Like, we can all do all of those things. We can all be present. We can all wrap somebody in a hug. We can all send some peace somebody's direction. We can all donate some food. Like, we're all in a position where we're able to give a little bit to somebody else. And we're all able to be the light. Like, there's nothing on that list, if we're intentional about it and we put some effort behind it, that we can't do. And probably you could do all 5 of those in one day if you wanted.
Well, and it's not only specific to those items, right? It's the concept of every one of those and applying that to aspects of our life, right? The fact that Christmas is a time of giving, just making sure that we are focused on that giving, right? Everybody wants to talk about, what am I going to get for Christmas? Well, what are you going to give for Christmas, right? The joy should be in the giving, not in the getting. Seeing the smile on people's face when you give them that gift that they're really looking for, that is meaningful, right? That is tied back to something that may have happened in the past year, whatever. Like seeing that smile on their faces light up is the key.
The thing that has stuck out for me just in the last week has been time as a gift. Just even seeing it with the kids, like it's been a busy couple of weeks, like really busy. There's a lot to check off on the work side. There's just a lot going on. Um, but to be able to make those moments where you turn off and where I've been able to be present with the kids and just give them some of my time, there's going to be presents under the tree. Santa Claus is going to come, all the stuff, right? But the thing that's going to stick out and that they're going to remember is the time we spent together and those moments. And that's really hit me in a big way just over the last couple of weeks is how important that is. Even with Christina, like just time, uninterrupted, be present, time.
Yeah, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to push some of that stuff aside, right? That busy stuff, right? It's okay not to go to events. It's okay not to go to everything. If you can't be present there, if you've got a lot going on and you can't be present and you can't give in that situation, then don't go. And know that it's okay. Right? We don't have to bombard ourselves with everything that's going on. It is a good time to kind of slow down a little bit, focus on what is most important. What is going to drive us to those goals, right? We talk about goals a lot on this podcast. Why? Because that's what's going to move our games forward. So focusing on those things in our lives during the holidays that are going to move us forward, that are going to allow us in that position of that Christmas list to give is going to be important. Saying no is just as important as saying yes.
Saying no is like giving yourself a gift. Like there are moments where you want to show up because it's the right group of people, the right place, the right time. Um, and yeah, you should say yes to that. But there's other moments where saying no is actually the best gift you can give yourself. Because the thing that I've realized over the last 2 weeks, like I said, it's been a busy couple of weeks. I've been lacking margin. Like I pack my calls together, my meetings together, my time with the kids together, dinners together, like all of it stacked right on top of each other with not much margin in the middle. And at the end of the day, I find myself just glad I made it through the day because I didn't give myself any time to slow down in the middle of that and just enjoy where I was. Because I've caught myself a handful of times thinking about in that moment where I should be present with whoever I'm with, starting to fast forward into the next thing I have to do because I haven't built margin in. And so margin is a gift. And I
Well,
think
absolutely. I mean, margin is that piece that we all strive for, right? Margin is the gift. It's the goal. That's the margin is what we get back. What we do with that margin is what's the key. Just like a grocery store operates on margin, right? Or any other store. If you don't have margin, what are you doing it for? You're just going through the motions and you have nothing out the other side left for yourself. That margin is your time.
but
And you can't do all the other things if you don't have that margin built in for yourself.
I was going to say that's exactly what happens though, is when you don't build margin in, we don't necessarily take away from things we would do for other people. We take away from things we would do for ourselves. We're the first person off the list when we don't have margin because we'll get to ourselves later. And that is not it's not a healthy way to live. It's not a fulfilling way to live. You got to give yourself some margin and some room in the middle of all of this. And that's not just even a Christmas thing. That's as I'm looking ahead to 2024, margin is one of my goals. Like, and I don't need a ton of it. I like to stay busy, but I need enough of it where I give myself some space to think and take care of the things I'm like personally that I need to take care of.
Right. And that most important thing is ourselves. We need to make sure we're taking care of ourselves first, because if we don't do that, we can't take care of others. Right. We've talked about that time and time again as well. I'd like to shift gears a little bit from the current holiday, to a topic that everybody is getting ready for, right? January 1. It's time for change. Woo! but is it really? Like, are you setting yourself up for true change? Or are you just doing it because it's the cool thing to do? And here's what I mean by that. We kind of need to focus a little bit on the long game, right? We know that the greatest successes come from discipline and consistency. So I challenge all of our listeners here, I challenge you all, give yourself 6 months. Whether you started yesterday, today, 2 months ago, or January 1st, give yourself 6 months. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish in 6 months. But if you want to take care of your mind, body, and soul, you need 6 months to build the habits of self-care and self-love. Delete the apps, block the numbers, wake up earlier, get dressed, even when you're not going somewhere, eat healthier, journal, capture those thoughts, have spa days, create that margin so you have some time for yourself, and exercise. Your list may be different. You might add some things, you might take some things away from that list. But create an environment over the next 6 months where you can have the consistency of delivering those things. You get one life. Just one. We all have one life. Let's make the most of it. Do what you can to love and enjoy every aspect of your life. No more waiting. Be the person that you've always wanted to be. 6 months. You'll see that change in 6 months. You may see that change in 3 months. Keep going. Right? 6 months isn't the end all be all. That's just the beginning. But you need that amount of time in order to really create the habit for yourself in all of those aspects.
The long game piece of that is, I think, is so important, because we talk about New Year's resolutions, and we've talked about it in the past, like New Year's resolutions fail. Well, why do they fail? Because we're not playing the long game, which is why in 15 days, 18 days, 20 days, we're off the wagon because it's too hard, or I got bored with it, or the work was too much, or I got busy. You have to play the long game, because one of the things, like take the gym as an example, 15, 18 days, you're not going to see results. 2 months, you might start to see some results. 3 months, you might see some more results. But from a quick perspective, you're not going to see results quick. And I think we want to take our goals and the things that matter to us, and we want to microwave them. We want to make it like a fast food restaurant where we can just go through the line, get it, have it, be done with it, and not have to work for it. Long game requires you to work, and you're going to have to work and not give up. And you're going to have to grind a little bit. There's going to be days where you don't want to. You're just going to have to keep going, but you have to approach it with the long game in mind. Like, where do I want to go in the future? The goals you have are not going to be easy. The goals you want to set for the new year probably going to cause you to have to do some work, and you're going to have to do some work for a while, not 15 days.
Well, and most of those goals that we set for ourselves require multiple changes. That takes time, because you can't change everything all at once. So you need that time to create the process and embrace the process to get you to your goals. It's the process that we need to fall in love with, not the goal. Embrace the process. Have fun with it. Know that, listen, after a month, you're not going to see any results on any of those aspects. You're not going to get your head clear in a month. You're not going to change your body in a month. it takes time and it takes consistency. So building that consistency and building that process that you can embrace, that you can enjoy, finding a gym that really works for you, or however, right? In a yoga studio or even your basement, right? Finding a place that works for you, that you're excited to go to, because that's the hardest part, is getting to those aspects, right? If we take working out, the hardest part's getting to the gym every day. But if you create a no excuses, no opportunity to say no to that, and you create that environment and that discipline, you show up every day because it's simple. All I have to do is show up. Yep, show up.
One of the things I've heard you talk about quite a bit is from the gym side, the community you have at your gym. You light up when you talk about it. You love talking about the people you work out with. Like, talk a little bit about community and how community fits into this whole thing, because I think it's one of the core pieces that makes all of this work.
I think community is the core of everything that we do, whether it's in the gym, whether it's in the networking groups that we spend time in. Like, community and having an environment that fills your bucket is important. It's the key. Excel Fitness here in Minnesota, one of the best around. And Kurt has done a great job of developing that community within the gym. We have a group of people every morning, bright and early. It's been that same group of people for the 4 or 5 years that I've been there. It's pretty consistent. Well, you get to be friends with those people. You see them every morning, 5 days a week. They're working just as hard as you are. You're sharing exercises, you're sharing stories, you're sharing, success, you're sharing failures. You have fun, you laugh, you poke a little fun at each other. For me, like, that is a bucket filling moment. I look forward to going to the gym every day because I know those people are going to be there. And when they're not, you ask questions. And when I'm not, they ask questions. It's accountability, man. It's accountability to ourselves and those people around us.
I think one of the things you just said there that's important is they're working just as hard as you are. Like, there's the accountability side of it, and then there's the surrounding yourself with people who are getting after it the same as you are. There's something to that. When you surround yourself with the right people who are really, they're motivated, they've got stuff going on, they've got goals. It helps when you see other people working hard alongside of you. It helps you to show up differently. Like, if you worked out at home by yourself, your workouts would be different than if you're in that space with those people working out together. It's just different. It has to be.
Well, and I've shared this before, right? There's a saying on the wall, written as big as it can be. Everything you want is on the other side of hard work. Think about that for a second. Not just in the gym. That applies to everything we do in life. Everything we do. Everything that we want to achieve. Guess what? All we got to do is put the work in. Well, what does that require? Requires us to be disciplined. Requires us to embrace the process. Requires us to do things that we don't necessarily want to do. But if we do them, we'll get there. That is a guarantee.
I think one of the exercises I just went through, and I go through this every year, and it's I was excited to do it again this year, was this snapshot exercise that I go through. And it's like, we've talked about it. You don't want to spend a lot of time looking in the rearview mirror, right? Like, there's not a lot behind you that's going to be valuable to you. But the snapshot, I use it as a way to look back over the last year and figure out like what worked for me, what worked and what didn't, right? So I go through these questions like, how would you describe the last year in 3 words? Like, what are your 3 words you would use to describe it? Where did you experience some wins in the last year? Where did you experience some losses or some goals you didn't achieve? Um, what strengths were the most valuable over the last year? One of the biggest questions is like looking over the last year and into the new year, what do you want more of and what do you want less of? Because I've got some things I can look back over 2023 and I can say I want less of this, this, and this, and more of these things. Some of that comes down to what we talked about a little bit earlier. Like, what should we have said no to? What were those things that we should have not said yes to in the first place that created distractions? Um, you know, Questions about where did I grow the most? What did I learn about myself in the last year? Um, you know, if I had goals that I were left incomplete, do I want to bring them with me into the new year? Do I leave them behind? Maybe they weren't the right goals. And then, over the last year, what lessons did I learn? And so I went through that exercise just the other day, sat down for a couple hours and just worked through it. And it's interesting. Like I feel like a little bit of time spent reflecting on where you've been is really powerful for setting you up to where you want to go. And it was a really solid exercise to walk through.
Any examples of that you want to share?
I talked about it a little bit earlier. I didn't give myself a whole lot of margin in the last year. I'd like a little bit more margin. One of the things I want more of that's been awesome is over the last probably 2 months, I've spent a lot of time trying to spend more time with Christina and be present because sometimes I'm not good at it. Sometimes my head is on work when I'm sitting right next to her. And so figuring out how to work on that and reset a little bit has been a big deal. Um, yeah, I think that was one of the big ones. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, this year I realized that I really enjoy being around other givers. It changes the entire dynamic of the conversation and the relationship, and I want to get rid of all of the suckers out there, right? Those that suck the energy and life out of you. And it happens, man. And it's key to really for you to recognize that, or it has been for me. Yeah, those folks that just suck the energy out of you, and you can feel it happening when you're tuned into that, you can feel that happening. I don't want to be around that. It's exhausting.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about that? You and I have spent a lot of time, I think both of us over the last year, just trying to expand our network, meet cool people, be around good people, right? And one of the things that has come up in a lot of conversations is I've met a handful of people who are in transition. And when they've lost a job and now they're looking for a new job, they have this moment where they're like, oh crap, I need to network. I need to like build my connections with good people because now I need something. And almost every single one of them has said, it's been fun to network and connect with people. I didn't realize how many cool people were out there. Well, the key to that then is once you go find the job and you've got your next thing, keep networking, keep making those connections and keep investing that time in people. It's way too easy for us to get busy and not invest those moments. And when we left THQ, which is where we were before Orange Ball, I had invested all of my energy in that network of people that we worked with out in California, none of it in cool people in the Twin Cities. So we go to launch an agency and I don't know anybody here. I'm like, this is going to suck. It's going to be really hard. It made me wish I had invested more time meeting good people in the Twin Cities. So
What else have you learned from your exercise?
I think there's one of the questions. I don't think I added this question. Looking back on 2023, did you believe in your ability to achieve your goals? And I think that's an interesting question because there's probably some areas where I still have some self-talk floating around in my head that holds me back. And so as much as I think one of the things is that was interesting about that is you can set a goal, But if you don't believe you can achieve it, you're probably not going to achieve it. And sometimes the reason we don't believe we can achieve the goal is because of the self-talk and the trash we have going on in our own head. Like all these old paradigms and all of this like old stuff. We play small because we think we're small. And I think probably halfway through the year that kind of hit me is you need to quit playing small. Um, but I've had to wrestle some demons in order to quit playing small. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, I think the one thing that can keep us from getting to our goals, and I've struggled with some of this a little bit over the last year, has been distractions. Um, you know, the damn phone is just a massive distraction in so many ways. And I've tried when at home, I try really hard to just leave it in the other room, not have it with me in the house, leave it on the counter, leave it somewhere, right? Leave it on the side table in the living room, whatever it happens to be, just to not have it on me when I'm home so that I'm present at home. I don't take it into the gym with me. I see all these people in the gym. As soon as they finish a set, they pick up their phone. Every time you do that, you lose your connection to your muscle. You lose that mind-body connection every time you do that. Stop with the phone in between sets. Bet you'll see better results. Leaving the phone on the side table or on the counter in the kitchen, you see better results at home. You're better connected with your conversations, with your kids, with your spouse. Something I'm working on the home front. I've got it nailed at the gym. I don't even bring it into the gym, and working on that aspect at home. But I know when I do practice that technique at home, I have much more connected conversations. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. Delete the apps. Block the numbers of those time waster, time suck people in your life. Get up earlier. Even if it requires you to go to bed earlier, get up earlier. There's so much benefit to getting up earlier than the rest of the world. You can get so much done before anybody even starts their day. A lot of people are working from home today. Do they get dressed up like they used to when they go to the office? Probably not. Try it. Get dressed every day as if you're going to the office, even if you're just walking down the hall. Diet, eating healthier. That's a challenge. That's a big challenge for me. It's a challenge for a lot of us, right? Keep working at it. Keep going. Keep trying. Spa days. Find that margin. Create that margin in your day so you can take care of yourself. And exercise. Doesn't have to be at the gym. Doesn't have to be for an hour. But spend some time every day using your muscles, using your body. And let's really get ready to kick some ass in 2024.
If you're listening to this and you're about to step into 2024 alongside everybody else who's listening to this, you have a massive opportunity in front of you. Like it's a blank slate. 2024 is a blank slate. So all the BS from 2023, if you had goals you didn't achieve, if you had losses, if you had things that you want to leave behind in 2023, leave them behind. You have a blank slate in 2024. Take advantage of it. Make it whatever you want this new year to be, make it that. But know that it's going to require some work. And that list you just unraveled there, the things on that list, it's going to require you to make some changes and to fight against some things that you think about yourself. Like, well, I can't get up early. I'm not a morning person. Become one. Don't tap into the excuses of, I just don't do that. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not this or that. If you want what you want, you're going to have to make some changes. You want 2024 to go a certain way, you're going to have to make some changes. Give yourself some grace along the way, but also don't make excuses for yourself. It's both
And
and.
listen, if you want an accountability partner, reach out to me. Happy to be your accountability partner. Happy to help guide and drive the results that you want to achieve. And it comes down to one change that makes it all. Make the commitment and do what you say you're going to do. Make 2024 the year that you do what you say you're going to do and go out there and make it happen. And with that, make it a great day and get after it.
Merry Christmas, dude.
Merry Christmas.
Later.
That wraps it up for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the Grit Meets Growth tribe. And thanks for growing along with us and being part of this journey together. If you know someone who needs to hear the conversation we had today, please share it. If you got something out of this conversation, please leave us a review. And finally, if you want to make sure you don't miss future episodes, just remember to subscribe. We're thankful for each and every one of you. And as my co-host and good friend Chris Cathers always says, make it a great day.